Lasse Johansson from Finnish Meteorologicla Insitute, please come forward. Lasse, there is another element to the whole system which is called, as Anna-Maria said, the end-user model, which is a predictive model of air quality. So basically what I've understood is that you can predict air quality for the next 24 hours or even further.
Yes.
How on earth is that done?
Well, that is a tricky question which I usually use 1 or 2 hours to explain fully, so I try to be as brief as possible. But this end-user model is a new kind of a air quality modeling system where the focus is in the measurement evidence. So that's the core of the modeling system. And in this modeling system, we continuously extract online newest information that has relevance to the recent urban air quality, and we use data assimilation tools to fuse this information, and we also apply traditional dispersion modeling to get as clear as possible view on the urban air quality. And with this modeling system, it is also possible, as you mentioned, to forecast for the next couple of days. In this data assimilation, we also utilize, as Anna-Maria said, other air quality models which consider long-range transportation of pollutants. So we have that information there as well, and we have all kinds of supporting information that can affect or can be utilized in the urban air quality modeling. For instance, just recently we have implemented this feature that downloads traffic jams in near real time.
Also the weather forecast.
Yes, of course. When we are applying dispersion modeling, we are utilizing meteorological data, since it is arguably the most important factor in urban air quality, as in those images in Beijing that Anna-Maria showed quite clearly. The meteorological conditions were the most important factor that transformed the good air quality into very bad situation.
So with this, I'm very interested in the prediction or the forecasting. Does this mean that in the future, with all the good data, I can actually even plan my runs or my bicycling routes based on the air quality?
Yes, of course. That would be one of the key applications that we are aiming for. The modeling system runs with a resolution approximately 10 meters, and temporal resolution can be 30 minutes or 15 minutes. And if you have a GPS-based track, for instance, you could, of course, assess the personal exposure and use that information and in the form of a third-party application.
The data from the sensor network will be open data. How about the end-user data? Who can get their hands on it? Who can build applications on it?
Well, we have been building this Citizer TechS-funded project, this Citizer platform. And in this project, this platform has been designed in a way that any third party that is interested in utilizing the information can tap into the Citizer platform and use this high-resolution air quality data as they please, and thereby produce applications. For instance, this kind of a personal exposure monitoring. So I would say that you could say that it will be open.
Just one last question. The air quality measurement system and your modeling system, it actually kind of brings up very, very interesting options for different solutions that will improve our lives. What is the craziest idea that you have come up with that could actually be built on it?
Craziest?
Yeah. And probably the normal one afterwards, but I want to start with the craziest.
Well, I guess the craziest might be, just on top of my head, would be an application for, let's say, Pokemon Go. You could have this kind of a well, you could utilize the air quality maps and, let's say, dish out some Pokemons in the places that has the best air quality, for instance, and thereby motivate people to go into places with best air quality.
Not bad, actually. I wouldn't have thought of that. And what would be the most probable one? I mean, that's actually probably the most probable one because someone can make money out of it. But
well, probable, of course, since we are producing high resolution air quality maps, we can also store the data and convert this information into very high quality annual average information, which could be used for people that are interested in buying a new house and they want to check out that, okay, in this suburban area here the air quality is this and this, and make informed decisions based on that.
any other questions? I mean, I think we have Anna-Maria and Lasse both here to answer the questions. I'm going to ask a few questions from Ville later on, but any questions for these two?
Do you have the measurement sites selected already?
Well, actually, this is a good question, since in this forthcoming project, one of the topics is to assess the best locations for new sensors to be inserted into the measurement network. So we are also using the end-fusion model to assess the most critical locations where the next sensor could be situated, and then we can always cross-validate how did the overall performance of the modeling system improve when we added this one sensor and then the next one and the next one, and then we get a picture how much this complementary air quality sensor network actually helped us.
Now, Ville Meittinen has been working on the project from our side, from the Smart and Clean Foundation side. There is actually quite a decent story behind, which tells a lot about what the community can do. How was this project born?
Out of an idea. I'm not quite sure who had the idea first. It was probably Vaisala and maybe the Finnish Meteorological Institute as well, and there had been some discussions around the topic, including the Helsinki University. This happened late last summer. The first sort of discussions emerged. Then the foundation was conveniently it started its operations. I came to work here. We had some meetings just with the interested sort of entities, interested parties. We had quite lively discussions at first. Very sort of different views as well on what we should actually be doing and how this project should be built. What would be the most beneficial for sort of different stakeholders. But after a few rounds of discussions, we actually managed to sort of come up with the sort of skeleton for a project. We had the scope, we had rough time scales, we knew what would be the sort of requirements or benefits for the sort of companies, what would be the roles for the research institutions, and what would be the role of HSY as well as the cities. And then what would be the role of the Smart and Clean Foundation or project once the project would be kicked off. The development phase of the project took a few months, starting let's say mid-autumn last year, and finally it was approved, so to say, from a funding point of view in late February this year by our board, which is not required maybe for all of the projects, but in this case the funding instrument which is being used is something that requires our board's approval. So now actually finally starting at the beginning of this month, that was the first kickoff point for the project, and now the first sort of meetings between the different stakeholders have taken place and are taking place, and the project is starting to move forward. It'll last for 2 years, and along the way, the Smart and Clean project itself is not we are not part of the project team or part of the project organization as such, but we have promised and agreed to support the development of these different sort of new services or new applications, how the information that is now available could be utilized in different ways.
And how will that process go on? I mean, how can other companies, people get involved?
That's a very good question, Eetu, and actually from I would say both two ways. There is a work sort of package or work stream within the project itself, which is dedicated to this. Our role is to support that even further. Our aim is to still before the summer to have a kickoff on the application development, but then the actual, let's say, development of first maybe gathering the different ideas, getting different entities together just to brainstorm things would take place after summer, and then continue from there onwards when we finally have all the information available from the end-user model and from these sites. Then we actually have the information on which we can build these new applications on top, and probably we'll have some possibilities to help there as well.
One thing that I've learned also from Vaisala and all the others is that the cooperation in here is vital, and also all the possible services that are being built on top will enhance everyone's appeal. This is a win-win-win situation, especially when trying to export the systems. Am I correct in this?
Definitely. So, for example, all kinds of mobile apps would be one example what would be developed based on this data.
Okay, one question. Concerning the utilization of the project, is there anything in the future that there would be a comprehensive solution that can be sold to, for example, Beijing? And how is this arranged between different partners?
Well, I think this can be very easily conceptualized and created as a big architecture which can be sold. So we have all the elements in here, so measurements, fusion model, then possibly research components if required in project. So yes, I think it's a readily made concept already after this pilot.
One very important feature of this whole platform is that it is portable. So the end-user model can be equally well utilized in Beijing or Shanghai as in Helsinki. So what we need is the measurement sensor network that we can, of course, Vaisala can sell that everywhere, and then we can use the assisting modeling tools to set up this whole service. So it is portable.
Hey, thank you for all the presenters. I think we got a good view on what the air quality sensor network is going to be, a supplementary air quality sensor network, and what it can be used. Please ask these people who are around if you've got any other questions, and go back to your conversation, which I stopped about half an hour ago. Sorry that it took so long, and try to be as vibrant as you were before. Thank you.
Thank you.